Former President Trump is going to surrender to face around 24 criminal counts.
That is something that can break the rule of law in this country.
We should act decisively to ban TikTok directly.
Drivers are bracing for higher prices at the pump.
Donald Trump is set to go to New York tomorrow and turn himself in on Wednesday. We've got all of that, including some terrible takes from your media folks. Also, gas prices are going up because the Saudis and OPEC have decided to stop drilling for oil. Wow, who could have seen that coming? Also, the ban to end TikTok, the bill to ban TikTok is facing some challenges from the freedom-loving people. All that and more coming up on this episode of Daily Caller Live. My name is Jobob. Thanks so much for tuning in. Daily Caller Live starts right now.
2, 1.
Here we go!
That might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob.
That is actually her name, Jobob.
Live from, where am I? Beautiful downtown Austin, Texas. My name is Jobob. This is Daily Caller Live. Thanks so much for tuning in on today. It is April 3rd, the year of our Lord 2023. I was in Austin for a really interesting event yesterday. Got to meet and spend some time with Tulsi Gabbard, who is awesome. You know who she is? Great. I would imagine if you're watching this show, you probably do. But let's get to this. Let's get to this first, right off the bat, rather than talking about my Austin trip. Donald Trump is set to head to New York City to Trump Tower yesterday. He truthed out, tomorrow. Yesterday, he truthed out that he will be headed to Trump Tower and then turn himself into the DA's office in Manhattan on Wednesday. And, well, here's what's going on. So that's that. Now, last week, later on in the week, were some terrible takes on this that I wanted to bring to light. Now, there's a bunch of people out there, and we don't have to go over the whole idea of, well, nobody is above the law and all that sort of stuff. We don't know what the indictments are yet. We have a pretty dang good idea of what they are, but we don't want to get into that as of right now. But I do want to play a couple clips from everybody's favorite news channel, MSNBC, in which hosts Rachel Maddow and a couple other people we're saying some very stoking the fear comments. Watch this clip from Rachel Maddow. Now, having known that Trump is going to turn himself in on Wednesday, watch how ridiculous this sounds, and I'll tell you why it was even ridiculous when she said it then too. Check this out, and we will discuss on the other side. Watch this.
The Florida governor, Trump, decides that he's not going to turn himself in, that he's going to stay in Florida and come and get me. Florida is not going to allow that process to go forward because it's a former president, because it's Donald Trump. Well, that could break us. I mean, indicting a president, indicting a politician is a normal thing in this country. Trying to say the legal system no longer applies in this country if you try to apply it to our political guy, that is something that can break the rule of law in this country. That is something, I mean, if anything, is the first proverbial shot at Fort Sumter today. That shot was fired not by Donald Trump, but by Ron DeSantis.
So if you missed the context there, Ron DeSantis said, hey, we're going to take a look at this and see if we want to extradite Donald Trump to New York. And then Rachel Maddow, literally on her show, said, this is the shot that starts the war, starts the civil war. They're not going to extradite Trump. And Ron DeSantis says, because it's our political guy, we're not going to send him to New York. At the time, first of all, just from a political standpoint, Donald Trump is not going to have to be dragged away from Mar-a-Lago. It's, as Rachel Maddow seems to insinuate. Now, obviously, this is all now played out over the last couple of days. He's said, yeah, I'm going to go to New York City. I'm going to turn myself in. But even at the time, nobody actually thought that Trump was going to stay in Mar-a-Lago and the feds are going to have to drag him out of there and extradite him to New York. Even that being said, Ron DeSantis didn't, as she inaccurately depicted there, say, well, we're not going to do it. No, he said, well, we're going to do everything we can, which in effect is only delay the process. If this is like a little too into the weeds, sorry about that. But the idea here is that you've got your MSNBC hosts creating a bunch of misinformation in order to scare people, which is what they accuse people on Fox of doing. Huh, interesting. Accuse enemies of that which you are guilty. Wow. But of course, all of that is a moot point now, as Donald Trump is going to turn himself in on Wednesday. I wanted to get to this other very dumb, bad take. Is it Mehdi Hassan on MSNBC, also on Morning Joe. Now, a lot of people are talking about Alvin Bragg, the DA of Manhattan, being a George Soros funded DA. A lot of people on the left are pushing back on that. I want to play you this clip and then kind of explain why it's utter BS. And either he should know better or he just, I want to say dumb, but he either doesn't know or does know and is lying. Watch this clip on whether or not Alvin Bragg is a George Soros funded DA. Check it out.
Talk about how off they are trying to paint this DA as some tool of a Jewish international banker.
Yeah, it's become kind of fact on the right, but as so many facts on the right turn out to be, they're not factual at all. And we did some digging on my show into this nonsense. You heard Stefanik say he got $1 million from George Soros. None of that's true. Alvin Bragg, just hear the facts, Joe. Alvin Bragg announced his candidacy for DA in June of 2019. In May of 2021, a PAC called Color of Change said, we're going to spend some money promoting Alvin Bragg's candidacy. George Soros, a few days later, gives them $1 million. They end up spending $500,000 on Alvin Bragg's campaign. They don't give the money to Bragg. It's their own ads promoting Bragg. No money changes hands. So Color of Change gave no money to Alvin Bragg. George Soros gave no money to Alvin Bragg, not even indirectly. No $1 million, no $500,000. We reached out to the Soros people. George Soros, they say, has never met with Alvin Bragg, never spoken to Alvin Bragg, never phoned Alvin Bragg, never emailed Alvin Bragg, never been on a Zoom call with Alvin Bragg, never given a dime to Alvin Bragg. So in what world is Alvin Bragg a Soros DA or a Soros-backed animal, to quote disgustingly Donald Trump? Only in the fevered imagination of the anti-Semitic conspiracy theorists who now dominate the American conservative movement. By the way, Joe, quick point. Republicans say they love money in politics. Money is speech. So even if he did give money to Bragg, which he didn't, what's wrong with that? What objection could they have to the Jewish billionaire Holocaust survivor? I can't possibly imagine.
Geez, I love how I love how they turned it into a racist thing. Okay, George Soros is Jewish. Who cares? He's backing people with his money. Now, here's what I love to try and figure out here. Is that guy on MSNBC lying, just flat out freaking lying to people's face and knowing it? Or does he not know how politics works, especially in political campaigns? And again, I don't actually know. I don't, seems like a nice enough guy. But those two things, we'll start out with this. He's just flat out freaking wrong there. And if you're wrong, you're either wrong intentionally, as in you're lying, or you just don't know what you're talking about, in which case you probably shouldn't be talking about it. He laid it out very clearly there, how the actual money went to it. If you're familiar with political campaigns, yes, you can give your money to a specific candidate. Here's the problem, and I don't know the specific rules in New York, but I would imagine there are donation limits. When you donate to a candidate, there's a maximum amount of money, excuse me, that you're allowed to donate. In the California governor's race specifically, it's like $29,000. So you're capped out at whatever that limit is. I would imagine the DA's race in Manhattan has a limit. Therefore, people who want to spend more money use other means of spending political money in the way of PACs or political action committees, and then they spend the money on the behalf. Those PACs can't just write a check to the candidate. I mean, they can, but again, there's limits that apply there. And so when George Soros gives money to a PAC and then that PAC spends money on that candidate, that's how George Soros then funds that campaign and gets around the donation limits that would exist for that particular race. Now he says, well, no, this Color of Change PAC, well, they said they were going to support Alvin Bragg in this race. And then George Soros gave that PAC $1 million, and they spent $500,000 on the actual race. Okay, Mehdi, I'm not sure if you're aware of, again, how big money is spent in politics at all. But billionaires slash business people slash businesses slash companies slash unions, any of these people any of these entities that give money to PACs don't just give it to the PAC out of the goodness of their heart and say, you know what, here's $1 million, you spend it however you see fit. That is not how this works. How it works is the person that is financing the PAC says specifically, very specifically, you're going to do this and this and this and this and this with my money. Now, maybe George Soros has never talked on the phone with Alvin Bragg. Maybe he's never met them. Maybe they've never had a Zoom call. I don't actually know. But it doesn't actually matter. The fact that George Soros gave $1 million to a PAC that then supported this candidate tells you all you need to know if you understand how politics and money in politics work. If you don't, as this MSNBC host either clearly doesn't or is lying, one of those two things are true. If you don't know how money in politics works, that is the assumption. Well, no, you just gave it to a PAC, and the PAC then spent $500,000. I would imagine the $500,000 that was actually spent in ad money was spent in ad money. And I would imagine the other $500,000 was spent in housekeeping to spend that ad money on that particular campaign. Bottom line here is that no person with a lot of money or entity with a lot of money just gives money to a PAC and says, "Oh, you guys know what to do. You just do whatever you want with that money." No. How that works is the person gives the money and then explicitly directs what the PAC what they should do with that money, and that is all done because there are probably campaign spending limits or donation limits in that particular race. So again, another terrible take. I don't know if he's lying or just flat out wrong. Either way, probably shouldn't be commentating on it with the definitiveness and the sureness that he has there. All right, so on to what's actually happening. I think this is ABC This Morning or whatever, one of those shows. This is kind of the outline of what's going on with Trump and his surrender and all that sort of stuff. Watch this and we'll discuss on the other side.
Morning, Robin. It will be extraordinary. This is one of the country's busiest courts, but it has never seen a defendant quite like the one that's due here tomorrow. Former President Trump is going to surrender to face around 24 criminal counts. The indictment is sealed until then, so we don't know the actual charges, but the grand jury was asked to consider whether Trump may have disguised the 2016 hush payment to Stormy Daniels on his company's books. Once he arrives here at court, Trump is going to be placed under arrest, but unlike most other criminal defendants, he will not be in handcuffs when he's brought before a judge to enter a plea of not guilty. There will be no court proceedings other than Trump's on the 15th floor, and many other cases in the building have been adjourned. Trump has lashed out at the judge hearing the case, State Supreme Court Justice Juan Merchan, who also oversaw the tax fraud trial of Trump's company, the Trump Organization, that ended in a conviction. And that rhetoric, Trump's rhetoric about the judge, about the prosecutor, the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, and about the merits of the case have police on alert. And come tomorrow, George, this entire area is going to be sealed off. George?
Yeah, New York is going to be a mess tomorrow. Aaron, thanks very much.
I think I've been getting my days mixed up. I flew into Austin last night, which was a Sunday, but it felt like a Monday because I was flying. And therefore, today is not Tuesday, as my brain thinks it is. It's Monday. And so I think I've been saying Donald Trump is going to go to New York City on Tuesday and then be arraigned on Wednesday. That timeline gets pushed up. I think there's a couple comments in there saying, no, it's happening today and he's going to be arraigned tomorrow. Like, yeah, okay, sorry. My brain, I'm traveling and it's a zoo in my head right now. So yeah, today he's going to New York City. He'll be going to Trump Tower, and then tomorrow will be arraigned. Here's the other thing too, and I feel like it's ridiculous to have to say this. I think everybody, literally everybody is hoping that all of this will be a peaceful process, and we can play the politics side out in the media and in the jabbering class and talk about it. Hopefully there's no violence. Again, it's crazy that I have to say that, but I think a bunch of your lefty people want violence. Um, I don't know. So yeah, that's that. Let's move on to something. Hey, you know what? How about this? This is going to affect you and your everythings. Gas prices are about to go way up again. For those of you who haven't heard, late last week, possibly even Saturday, OPEC, a bunch of the big oil companies, probably headed up by the Saudis, said they're going to produce $1 million barrels less of oil per day, which cuts their oil production by about 6%. I was going to say 6 million, cuts it by 1%, but that's wrong. I got those reversed. So yes, they're cutting 1 million barrels of oil a day in production, and therefore about 6%, which, of course, if you cut the supply of something and the demand stays the same, the price goes up. This is classic economics. Nobody is going to be shocked by this, but I want you to watch this clip. I believe this is CNBC, just kind of briefly explaining what's going on, and then we'll discuss why this should never have happened. And we should be energy independent. Check this out.
Oh, the oil market's in disarray today, Diane, because drivers are bracing for higher prices at the pump after Sunday's surprise announcement by OPEC and Saudi Arabia that they will cut more than 1 million barrels of oil each day beginning next month. Now, that's on top of already announced cuts back in October. This move upset the White House and is leading to a jump in crude prices today. Some analysts now predicting crude could top $100 a barrel within weeks, helping to finance Russia's war on Ukraine and fuel yet another rise in inflation.
Okay, so bottom line here is OPEC saying, yeah, we're going to cut. Okay, here's the bottom line of all of this, right? Gas prices are going to go up. You're going to see that probably today. Oil prices are already gone up. I think they were up like 7% last time I checked, right before we hopped on here. But I think this can all be summarized in this comment here from JR. So we need to start drilling. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We should probably be energy independent and not dependent and therefore beholden to a bunch of foreign powers that have nothing to do with us. Again, this may sound crazy here, but maybe if you're dependent on your energy from places around the world that don't like you, they can leverage your dependency and hurt you by either diminishing the output or just raising the prices. Wow, that's such a tough concept to grasp. Maybe we should start drilling here. I feel like, I don't know, maybe there should be like a big pipeline that goes from our very, very friendly friends, Canada in the north, and goes down to the oil refineries in Texas. I feel like that would work. I feel like that would be a good idea to do that, so we aren't dependent on people that don't like us. That's just crazy talk. But yeah, there's a bunch of people that have been calling for energy independence, myself included. And this is one of those where it's like, everybody wants to be right, but when it comes down to the real reality of saying "I told you so," what's the line in Batman where Batman tells Alfred, Bruce Wayne tells Alfred, like, we all know how much you love to say "I told you so," and Alfred says, "When that day comes, I won't want to." Yeah, this is one of those like bittersweet. Ha! We told you, and this is not the end of anything. This is just a a piece in the timeline. But this is kind of one of those like, yeah, I told you, and it also sucks. Like, I don't want to have to pay more money for gas as gas prices are already up. So yeah, we should be drilling on our own. We sit on top of huge oil reserves, and it would greatly benefit us and really the rest of the world if we were to start doing the responsible adult thing and not be beholden to the Greta Thunbergs of the world. Okay, so there's that. I want to get to this. This is actually pretty dang important. I feel like a lot of people have been hearing about the TikTok ban. If you're not familiar, TikTok is an app that literally everybody uses, but it's also controlled by people say controlled by China. It's controlled by ByteDance, which is a Chinese company. And if you're a Chinese company, there's no way that you operate outside of the realm of the Chinese Communist Party. So in effect, it is controlled by China, but that's not technically accurate. ByteDance is its own company, but again, very, very much ingrained with the Communist Party. But that being said, there's been calls since Donald Trump was the president. So what, 2-3 years ago, been called to ban TikTok as it is spying on American citizens. And well, the bottom line here is that finally there is some movement in DC to ban TikTok. The problem is, much like all government everythings, they screwed that up. The federal government issued there's been a bill introduced that everybody's pretty much debating nowadays to ban TikTok. The problem is the Restrict Act would give the Commerce Department and the White House sweeping powers to ban or restrict a wide range of communications and technology products coming from China. The bill would deprive TikTok of yada, yada, yada. Bottom line is we need to ban TikTok. And ban TikTok specifically, or force a sale, whatever you want to say. We basically need to get the Chinese Communist Party out of our cell phones and out of our pockets. That's what everybody agrees on. However, the bill being put up doesn't mention TikTok at all, doesn't mention anything specific to this situation, and effectively gives the communications people in the federal government and the White House just carte blanche over pretty much anything they want to do if they say, well, this is a foreign adversary and we need to ban it. In other words, the federal government, as the federal government does, has gone way too far. And now everybody's saying, okay, wait. We still do need to ban this app, but not like this. Here's what this effectively is. This is a solicitor coming to your door, selling you, I don't know, cleaning products, whatever people come to your door to sell. And this person comes up to your door and they're selling you cleaning products, and you don't like people coming to your door and selling you products. Nobody does. And you kind of think, well, what's an effective way for me to get rid of solicitors? Maybe you have a sign outside your yard that says no solicitations. And maybe there are some gaps in that, and maybe some things still get through, but at least you're trying to end the solicitations at your front door. But no. Your cousin Clem says, well, here's how we're going to stop solicitors. We're going to shoot all of them. You go, whoa, that's a little bit too far. You're like, okay, but that's exactly what the federal government is doing. Oh, we need to ban TikTok. Okay, we're going to give the White House sweeping power to ban anything they want. Whoa. That's a little bit too far, a little bit too crazy. But such is the federal government and how they act. Here's Josh Hawley introducing a bill that's more specifically geared to banning TikTok. Watch this, and I hope this is more of the route that we take, but check this out.
Is we should act decisively to ban TikTok directly. We shouldn't give new open-ended authority to federal bureaucrats. We should target this threat specifically. That's what this bill does that we have before us today. It goes right at the problem. It bans TikTok in this country. It protects the American people, and it sends the message to communist China that you cannot buy us.
So a more realistic bill to ban TikTok from Senator Hawley, and that doesn't give sweeping power to the White House. When those videos play, sometimes I read in the comment section to see if anything is happening. Back to the earlier point of gas prices, there were several people that said, hey, just FYI, if we become energy independent, that means there's more jobs and more people get to work, and we boost our own economy. The 5 or 6 people that have said that in the comment section, you guys are making way too much sense. There's also stuff in the comment section too that I think is fascinating. There's a big debate on, I think it's on Facebook. I'm not sure which page their comments on, But we're talking about fat shaming now, I guess. I don't think that has anything to do with anything we're talking about. But you guys all sometimes have your own sidebar comments in the comment section, which is just, I don't know, it's hilarious to watch. I really appreciate it. You know what else is hilarious to watch is Elon Musk and his vendetta against the New York Times. Are you hip to this story at all? Elon Musk, well, okay, this is really not that interesting or important, or we won't spend too much time on it, but Elon Musk, the guy who owns Twitter, I don't know if you've heard about that. The New York Times has about 54 million Twitter followers. I have always been curious as to, hey, the New York Times has 54 million followers. I have like 8,000 and I don't try at all on Twitter and I don't use it as much as I probably should given my current line of occupation. But sometimes I get more engagement on tweets than the site that has 54 million followers. I don't understand how that works. But anyways, the New York Times has said we're not going to pay this $8 fee a month to be verified. No, 100%. No, we're not doing it. Elon obviously took exception to that. Said this is ridiculous. You guys charge a subscription fee, and in order to be verified on the platform in which you have the most followers / most people on, you don't want to pay $8. I know you guys got it. Elon says. I was going to read. I was going to read some of his tweets, but that's basically it. Elon is having a Twitter feud with the New York Times. I think he even at one point replaced their little check mark with a clown face. I don't know if that was just an internet thing or that actually happened, but I don't know. Either way, Elon is at odds with the New York Times at the moment. But that is that. Let's see. Anything in the comment section that's worth bringing on? Yeah, the sidebar conversations are just funny. Like there's people maybe maybe this is a way to bring people together to talk about things that aren't being talked about on this show. But if you guys have fun doing it, great. But you know what? That'll do it for us today. Yeah, appreciate you sticking around, tuning in. Let's see. I'm in Austin. I will be at the independent convention for the next couple hours here in Austin before my flight out back home to California. I also think, shoot, I should probably check on that. I think I'm going to be on Fox News tonight with Trace Gallagher, Fox at Night this evening back in LA. So if you, I don't know, watch those, then yeah, would love to see you there. If you haven't already, give me a follow on any of your social media platforms. Type in JOBOB at really any of the online social media places that you get stuff. Appreciate you sticking around, tuning in. Maybe, I don't know. I'm trying to get Tulsi Gabbard to come on here and talk about some of the stuff. She was actually really, really, really interesting and cool just to kind of watch around this dinner that I was at last night. Yeah, it was unlike any other politician I've ever interacted with, and I've interacted with a lot of politicians, and I dislike most of them. But I don't know, really, really interesting evening last night. Maybe I'll talk about that more. But I actually also would love to get her on. So Tulsi, if you're watching, would love to have you on the show. That'll do it for us today. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, different place. We'll be back in the dingy bunker. Oh shoot, last thing. What is it? Wednesday, which is not tomorrow in my head. Wednesday, I will be in San Jose at a TPUSA Made in America tour. I'm the keynote speaker there. So if you are in the area, in the San Jose area, you can shoot me a message on any media platforms, but also you can type in tpusa.com/Made in America, and you can get tickets to that event if you are in the Bay Area / San Jose area. Anyways, all right. That'll do it for us today. See you tomorrow, same time, different place. God bless America.